Alright, so my name is Peach. I'm 18 years old and I identify as genderqueer. Like genderqueer, non-binary, gender fluid are like all terms that apply to me right now. These things in terms of like non-binariness, like gender fluid, gender queer, people criticize them a lot because they're quote unquote new and like people think that they're made up, but like if you look at history, like forever people have identified as like genders that are not the binary genders, and like if you look at like the history of like colonialism and like how that's affected how we like have a gender binary system now. As someone who's like who grew up and like kind of realized like, oh, I like don't feel like a girl, like that's what does that mean? And then like I had to think about myself like a lot. Like I had to think about like, well, what does being a girl mean to me, and like what does it mean that I don't feel that way, or like how do I feel this way, or like what do I describe this new feeling, or like this feeling that I'm like starting to identify as. So like I'm an advocate for allowing everybody to question their gender. I kind of just like came to this thing like, oh, like I'm not binary, and like that wasn't like an easy or like enthusiastic thing. Unfortunately, like it came with a lot of like struggles of kind of just like wondering like, why do I feel this way, like why don't I feel like okay kind of just like existing as like a girl, like everyone tells me I am, and like am I just making this up in my head? And like, but I think a big thing with like pronouns and like coming out to yourself is like it's really scary. It's like a big like realizing that you're not cis is a really hard moment, but thankfully there's like a great queer community that if you look for it and you look for the people, like they'll be there and they'll be willing to talk to you. Like I will talk to anyone on the street if they come up to me and ask me like, and are like, I feel dysphoria, or like I don't feel like this or like that, and I don't know what's going on. Like I will talk to anyone about it. On some levels, like when I come out to a stranger, like, you know, or whatever, just tell a stranger like, oh, my pronouns are they, them, or oh, I'm not a girl. Like if it's like some random guy on the street that's like, oh girl, you look so pretty today, I can yell at them and say, I'm not a girl. But it's harder when it's like your family members or like your friends that you really love, because they mean a lot to you. So that like approval or like that like fear of rejection, even if it's like not really rooted in anything valid, it's like still there and it's still really real. And that's why I really appreciate like when my friends and when other cis people who like want to be allies explain gender to other cis people, and like not in a disrespectful way where they don't know what they're talking about, but in an informed way. And then like also when like my cis friends will tell people like, oh, use Peach's pronouns, or like if you know like I'm in a room and someone misgenders me, I don't have to like even open up my mouth to correct someone because my friend has already done it. And I identify as mainly gender fluid, which means that some days I feel like a girl, some days I feel like a boy, and then like most days I would say I feel like neither. Most of the days like I don't feel like a boy and I don't feel like a girl, I just kind of feel like me. So that's why I'm most comfortable with the pronouns they, them, theirs, because no matter what, no one can really like, that's just like something that I can't really be misgendered with, no matter what I'm feeling that day. For my sexuality, like I feel most comfortable defining myself as queer just because inherently being non-binary or being gender fluid, like you don't really have a gender that's like the same gender or like the opposite gender. I think that's why queer makes the most sense to me, because I don't want to ever limit myself based on gender. I don't want to assume of the people that I'm attracted to like their genders in general. I think especially transness and discomfort are things that like people really link together in a very heavy way. People think transness is like this tragic and awful thing, and sometimes it like does really suck, but a lot of the times I like love being trans. I love being non-binary, and like I love being able to like wake up and define myself as like who I want to be, and like kind of just like feel just the way I want and like look the way I want and identify the way I want. But a lot of that love like will stem from like the solidarity within that, I guess, like this discomfort that we have living in like a cis heteronormative society, because I'm living the way that I want to live, being who I want to be. I'm Peach. I study public health and queer theory at DePaul as of right now. I like to skateboard, I like to dance, I like to do like cool goth dance things. I like to dance to punk music. I like listening to like weird podcasts. I really like almond milk, and I like eating fruits Oh, and picnicking and stuff like that. And like, did I say that I like to skateboard already? Well, I like to skateboard. And I like watching Jersey Shore and spending too much money on skincare, and all of those things are things that I like to do. And I'm also non-binary.